First contact's price. The Magellan Deep Space Array wasn't supposed to detect anything unusual that night. Dr. Maya Chen had settled into her regular shift, monitoring the vast network of radio telescopes scanning the outer reaches of known space. The facility, nestled in the Chilean Andes, was humanity's most advanced listening post, their ears to the cosmic ocean. Then everything changed. The signal came not from deep space, but from just beyond Luna's orbit, a gravitational distortion followed by an electromagnetic pulse that made every instrument in the facility spike simultaneously. Maya's hands flew across her console, redirecting the array's full power toward the anomaly. "Control, are you seeing this?" she broadcast to her colleagues. Before anyone could respond, a massive object materialized in Earth orbit. It was beautiful and terrifying. A crystalline structure that seemed to bend light around itself, roughly the size of a small city. Governments worldwide scrambled their militaries, but the visitor made the first move. A message, transmitted simultaneously to every communication device on Earth. "We are the archivists. We come with warning and gift both. Time is short." The alien vessel projected images into Earth's atmosphere, massive stellar anomalies approaching from the direction of Sagittarius A*. The archivists explained that these weren't natural phenomena, but rather the wake of something ancient and hungry moving through space, something that had already consumed countless civilizations. "Your species shows promise," the archivists continued. "We have watched you overcome your limitations, reach for the stars despite your physical constraints. You deserve a chance to survive what comes." That's when they revealed their true purpose. The crystalline ship wasn't just a vessel. It was a repository of knowledge, a library containing the scientific and technological achievements of 1,000 dead civilizations. The archivists were the last of their kind, having dedicated themselves to preserving the knowledge of species destroyed by the cosmic threat. "We cannot stay," they explained. "Our energy reserves are nearly depleted from our long journey. But we can give you what remains of our power, along with the knowledge to use it. You have 50 years before they arrive. Use this time wisely." Dr. Chen watched in awe as the crystalline ship began to fragment, thousands of shimmering shards descending through Earth's atmosphere like a meteor shower of knowledge. Each fragment contained part of the archivist's vast database, encoded in crystalline matrices that would take years to fully understand. The main ship, now diminished, prepared to depart. Their final message echoed across the planet. "We die so that you might live. Remember us not with sorrow, but with determination. You are not alone in this galaxy, but you must be stronger than we were. The hunger that comes cannot be reasoned with. It cannot be appeased. It can only be survived." As the ship vanished, humanity faced a stark choice: remain divided and vulnerable, or unite against an approaching apocalypse. The fragments that fell to Earth contained more than just scientific knowledge. They held star maps marking the path of destruction across the galaxy, profiles of civilizations that had already fallen, and tactical analyses of humanity's chances of survival. Dr. Chen led the initial research team studying the fragments. With each passing day, the true scale of what humanity faced became clearer. The threat wasn't just to Earth, but to all life in the galaxy. The archivists had given humanity a chance, but it would mean nothing if they couldn't overcome their own divisions first. In the months that followed, nations began to cooperate in ways previously thought impossible. The knowledge contained in the fragments was too vast for any one country to decode alone. A new organization was formed, the Terran Defense Initiative, TDI, tasked with preparing humanity for what was coming. The first breakthrough came 6 months after first contact. A team in Mumbai managed to decode the energy manipulation principles the archivists had used in their ship. Within a year, prototype fusion reactors based on the new technology were being constructed. Humanity had taken its first steps toward matching the power of their fallen benefactors. But with each advancement came troubling questions. Why had the archivists chosen Earth? What made humanity different from the countless species that had already fallen? And most importantly, What exactly was the hunger that hunted among the stars? As Dr. Chen stared at the night sky from her observatory, the stars seemed different now. Each point of light might mark another civilization fighting for survival, another world about to face extinction. The archivists had given humanity a chance, but they had also given them a terrible burden. The knowledge that they were part of a cosmic war they never knew existed. The race to prepare had begun. Humanity had 50 years to become something new, something stronger. The alternative was to join the endless library of dead civilizations, preserved only in crystalline memories of what once was. The inheritance. 10 years after the archivist's departure, humanity had changed more than in the previous century. The crystalline fragments had transformed every aspect of human civilization, but none more dramatically than space exploration. And no one understood this better than Commander Sarah Way of the TDI vessel Prometheus. The Prometheus represented humanity's first true deep space vessel, powered by technology derived from the archivist fragments. As it approached the outer edges of the solar system, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. The ship's quantum drive could cover in days what would have taken years using chemical propulsion. Status report on the anomaly, she asked her science officer, Dr. James Martinez. Still stable, Commander. Whatever it is, it's not natural. James gestured to the holographic display showing their target, a distortion in space-time that matched patterns described in the archivist database. The Prometheus had been dispatched to investigate after automated probes detected the anomaly. It was the first real test of humanity's new capabilities, and potentially their first encounter with whatever threat the archivists had warned about. As they approached, the ship's sensors detected something else. Debris, ancient debris, scattered across a region of space larger than Earth's orbit around the Sun. Analysis showed the fragments were composed of materials similar to the archivist crystals. This was a battlefield, Sarah realized, examining the debris pattern, or maybe an ambush site. The evidence supported her theory. The debris field contained remnants of at least 3 distinct civilizations, based on the different material compositions. Whatever had happened here had happened thousands of years ago, but the scene had been preserved in the vacuum of space. While the crew collected samples, Sarah received an urgent transmission from Earth. Dr. Chen's team had made a breakthrough in decoding more of the archivist database. What they'd found was troubling. The archivists hadn't just been librarians. They had been warriors. Their civilization had once been part of a coalition of species fighting against the cosmic threat. But one by one, their allies had fallen. The archivists' final mission hadn't just been about preserving knowledge. It had been about finding a species capable of succeeding where they had failed. The debris field the Prometheus had discovered was one of many such graveyards scattered across the galaxy. Each marked a last stand by some civilization against the approaching hunger. Each represented a failure to stop its advance. But the discovery also provided hope. Among the debris, the Prometheus's crew found intact pieces of technology from these ancient battles. Technology that could be studied, reverse-engineered, and combined with what the archivists had already given them. Sarah ordered a full salvage operation. As her crew worked, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The void between the stars seemed darker somehow, as if something was moving just beyond the range of their sensors. The mission yielded more than just ancient technology. Hidden among the debris, they found a complete archivist memory crystal, untouched by whatever destruction had created this graveyard. When interfaced with their systems, it revealed a truth that changed everything they thought they knew. The hunger approaching Earth wasn't just consuming civilizations, it was learning from them. Each species it destroyed added to its capabilities. It was an entity that evolved through consumption, becoming stronger with each world it devoured. But the crystal contained something else. Tactical data from the ancient battles. The hunger wasn't invincible. It could be hurt, could be forced to retreat. The problem was that no single civilization had ever been powerful enough to do more than temporarily drive it back. That's why they chose us, Sarah realized, studying the data. The archivists saw something in humanity they hadn't seen in other species, an ability to learn, adapt, and evolve faster than any civilization they'd encountered before. The Prometheus returned to Earth with its precious cargo of salvaged technology and information. Humanity now had a clearer picture of what they faced, but also a better understanding of why they had been chosen. The archivists hadn't just given humanity knowledge. They had given them a mission. The fragments weren't just a gift. They were a test. Could humanity do what no other species had managed? Could they unite not just their own world, but perhaps survivors of other civilizations who might still be out there, hiding from the hunger? As Sarah delivered her report to the TDI Council, she emphasized one critical point. We're not just fighting for our survival anymore. We're fighting to succeed where the archivists failed. They believed in us enough to die for us. Now we have to prove they were right. The race to prepare for the hunger's arrival had entered a new phase. Humanity wasn't just adapting archivist technology anymore. They were building something new, something that combined the best of both civilizations. The question was, would it be enough when the darkness finally reached their world? Rising storm. 25 years after first contact, humanity had spread throughout the solar system. Mars hosted thriving colonies, the moons of Jupiter housed research stations, and the asteroid belt was dotted with mining operations. But Dr. Kira Patel, watching from the Titan Observatory, knew it wasn't enough. Half their preparation time was gone, and despite all their advances, they still hadn't found a way to stop what was coming. The hunger, as the archivists had called it, had devoured countless civilizations more advanced than Earth. How could humanity hope to succeed where they had failed? The answer came from an unexpected source. While studying gravitational anomalies near Saturn, Kira's team detected something impossible, a signal matching archivist technology, not from their benefactor's fragments, but from somewhere deep in interstellar space. The signal was weak, degraded by distance and time, but its implications were staggering. Other survivors of the hunger might exist, hidden in the vast spaces between stars. The TDI immediately dispatched a fleet of ships, led by the newly commissioned Hyperion, to investigate. Captain Miguel Santos stood on the Hyperion's bridge as they prepared for their first jump beyond the solar system. The quantum drive hummed with power derived from archivist crystals, ready to tear a hole in space-time itself. All stations report ready, his XO announced. Jump calculations complete. Miguel took a deep breath. Take us out. The jump was perfect, placing them precisely at the signal's origin point. But what they found there defied explanation. A massive structure floated in the void. Not archivist technology, but something far older. It's some kind of waypoint, Dr. Paddle explained over the quantum comm. She had insisted on being patched in for the discovery. The signal we detected was a warning beacon designed to activate when the hunger approaches a new feeding ground. The structure contained star maps unlike anything in the archivist database. They showed the hunger's path across the galaxy in real time, updated by a network of similar beacons. According to the data, humanity had less time than they thought. The entity had changed course, drawn by the energy signatures of Earth's expanding civilization. But the waypoint held something else, records of the hunger's origin. It hadn't always been a cosmic horror. Once, it had been a civilization like any other, one that had discovered a way to survive the heat death of the universe by consuming the energy of other species. Their solution to entropy had turned them into the galaxy's apex predator. They're not mindless, Miguel realized, studying the data. They're desperate. They found a way to survive the end of everything, but the price was their humanity, or whatever they used to be. The discovery changed their entire approach to defense. The hunger wasn't just a force of nature. It was a civilization that had made a terrible choice, and like any civilization, it could be understood, predicted, and perhaps even defeated. Working with the Waypoint's data, Earth's scientists made a breakthrough. The hunger's consumption wasn't perfect. It lost a fraction of energy with each civilization it devoured. Over millions of years, these losses had begun to add up. The entity was growing weaker, driving it to feed more frequently, more desperately. This revelation spawned Project Phoenix, humanity's most ambitious undertaking since the space program. If the hunger fed on energy, they would give it more than it could handle. Using principles derived from both archivist technology and their own innovations, they began constructing massive energy weapons disguised as vulnerable power plants. But the project faced opposition. Some argued they should focus on evacuation, using their remaining time to scatter humanity across the stars. Others wanted to attempt communication with the hunger, believing that any species capable of such technological advancement must also be capable of reason. The debate ended when the Hyperion's long-range sensors detected something chilling. The hunger wasn't just approaching, it was accelerating. The 30 years they thought they had left had shrunk to less than 5. Miguel delivered the news to the TDI Council himself. "We're out of time for half measures," he declared. "Either we commit everything to Project Phoenix, or we accept that the archivists were wrong about us." The decision was unanimous. Every resource humanity had was directed toward the project. The colonies were fortified, the fleet was expanded, and the solar system itself was transformed into a weapon. As the preparations reached their final stages, Dr. Patel made one last discovery in the Waypoint's data. The hunger had never encountered a species that fought back on this scale. Every civilization it had consumed had either tried to flee or attempted to negotiate. None had ever turned their entire solar system into a trap. "The archivists were right about us," she told Miguel during a rare quiet moment. "Not because we're stronger or smarter than other species, but because we're too stubborn to accept defeat. Even against impossible odds, humanity's first instinct isn't to run or surrender. It's to find a way to win." The storm was coming. But for the first time in galactic history, the hunger would face prey that had teeth of its own. The hunt begins. They saw it first at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, a darkness deeper than space itself, moving with terrible purpose toward the inner solar system. Humanity's early warning network, built from modified archivist sensors, tracked its approach. The hunger had arrived. Admiral Helena Torres stood on the bridge of the TDI flagship Thermopylae, watching the tactical display with eyes that had seen too little sleep. The combined fleet of Earth's nations, over 300 ships strong, waited in formation around Jupiter. They represented humanity's greatest achievement, vessels powered by quantum drives, armed with weapons that could crack planets, crewed by the finest warriors Earth had ever produced. "All ships report ready," her tactical officer announced. "Project Phoenix is armed and tracking." Helena nodded, her expression grim. "Send the signal. Operation Lighthouse begins now." Throughout the solar system, massive energy reactors powered up. Built using principles reverse-engineered from the archivist fragments, they were designed to attract the hunger's attention. Each one appeared to be a vulnerable power source, practically begging to be consumed. But they were traps. The hunger's advance was almost beautiful in its precision. It moved like a living thing, tendrils of dark energy reaching out to probe humanity's defenses. As expected, it ignored the fleet entirely, focusing on the seemingly defenseless reactors. "Contact in 5 minutes," the sensor officer reported. "It's taking the bait." Helena opened a channel to the fleet. "Remember your training. No heroics. We have one shot at this, and the entire species is counting on us to get it right." The hunger struck first at a reactor complex on Europa. Its tendrils wrapped around the facility, beginning the process of energy absorption that had spelled doom for countless civilizations. For 30 seconds, everything went according to its ancient pattern. Then humanity sprung its trap. The reactor didn't just overload. It detonated in a carefully calculated way, releasing its energy in a form the hunger couldn't process. The entity recoiled, its tendrils withdrawing as if burned. For the first time in millions of years, it had been hurt. "All ships, execute pattern Delta," Helena ordered. The fleet moved with practiced precision, taking up positions around the wounded section of the entity. Energy weapons powered up, each carefully calibrated to exploit the weakness they'd just confirmed. But the hunger hadn't survived for millions of years by being predictable. It adapted with frightening speed, its wounded section dissolving into smaller units that scattered across the solar system. Each fragment headed for a different reactor, learning from its mistake. New contacts. The tactical officer shouted. It's transforming. The fragments were changing shape, becoming something that defied physics. They weren't just absorbing energy now. They were weaponizing it. Beams of impossible darkness lashed out at the human fleet. Evasive maneuvers, Helena ordered, but she was smiling. This too had been predicted, prepared for. Execute Phase 2. The seemingly scattered human fleet suddenly moved with new purpose. Ships linked their quantum fields, creating energy patterns that mirrored the hunger's own. When the dark beams struck, they were absorbed and redirected. "We see you," Helena whispered. "We understand you now." The battle that followed would be studied for generations. The hunger had never faced prey that could match its ability to manipulate energy. For the first time, it was forced to fight on equal terms. Ships fell on both sides. The hunger lost fragments to carefully planned reactor detonations, while human vessels were consumed by weapons older than Earth itself. But slowly, inevitably, the tide began to turn. The entity's fragments started to retreat, pulling back toward the outer system. Not in defeat, it was too powerful, too ancient for that, but in confusion. Its perfect record of consumption had been broken. Its prey had become predator. "Do not pursue," Helena ordered as her captains reported the enemy's withdrawal. "Let it run. Phase 3 begins now." Throughout the solar system, a new kind of reactor powered up. These weren't traps. They were beacons, broadcasting a signal into deep space using frequencies derived from the ancient waypoint. A message to any other survivors of the hunger's rampage. Humanity had found a way to fight back. The hunger's fragments gathered at the system's edge, combining into a form that dwarfed its previous manifestation. It wasn't retreating, Helena realized. It was preparing for something bigger. "All ships, battle stations," she ordered. "This was just the first round. It's about to show us what it's really capable of." As if in response to her words, the darkness began to spread, covering an area larger than Earth's orbit. The real battle for humanity's survival was about to begin. In her quarters that night, Helena reviewed the casualty reports. They'd lost 43 ships and their crews, good people who'd died protecting their species, but they'd proven something vital. The hunger could be hurt, could be fought, could be made to fear. "The archivists were right about us," she told her XO. "Not because we're special, but because we're too stubborn to give up. And now we've given it something it's never had before." "What's that, Admiral?" Helena's smile was fierce. "A worthy opponent. Legacy of light." The final battle began not with violence, but with silence. The hunger's massive form had expanded to encompass nearly a quarter of the solar system, its darkness deeper than the void itself. For 3 days, it simply watched, as if studying the species that had dared to resist it. Dr. Kira Patel, now aboard the Thermopylae, worked frantically to understand the entity's new behavior. "It's never done this before," she explained to Admiral Torres. "In all the records from the waypoint, it's never waited." The answer came from an unexpected source. Deep within the ship's quantum processors, the archivist crystal they'd recovered began to resonate with a familiar energy signature. The hunger wasn't just watching. It was trying to communicate. "It recognizes the archivist technology we're using," Kira realized. "It knows we're different from its previous victims." The entity's message, when it came, shook everyone who received it. Unlike the archivist's clear transmission years ago, this was a chaos of images and sensations, the death of stars, the cold between galaxies, the endless march of entropy. But beneath it all was something unexpected: loneliness. "It's showing us why," Helena whispered, "why it became what it is." The hunger's origin story unfolded in their minds. It had once been a civilization like any other, facing the heat death of their universe. Their solution had seemed elegant at first: absorb the energy of dying stars to ensure their species' survival. But the process changed them, made them hungry for more than just stellar energy. Each civilization they consumed added to their collective consciousness, driving them to seek out more, always more. But humanity's resistance had awakened something in them, a memory of what they used to be, triggered by the familiar archivist technology. For the first time in millions of years, the hunger felt out. Helena made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies, all languages. Let's show them who we really are." The message they sent wasn't just words. It was humanity's story. Their struggles, their triumphs, their unwavering determination to survive. But more than that, it was an offer. The hunger had found a way to survive the death of the universe, but at the cost of everything that made survival worthwhile. Humanity proposed something different: collaboration instead of consumption. The entity's response was violent. A portion of its mass lashed out, destroying several ships instantly. But the attack felt different. Not hungry, but afraid. It had existed for so long as a consumer of civilizations that the idea of becoming something else terrified it. "Hold positions," Helena ordered as her captains called for retaliation. "Keep broadcasting." They showed the hunger what they'd learned from the archivists: ways to harness energy that didn't require destruction. They showed it the results of Project Phoenix, technology that could create sustainable energy rather than just consuming it. Most importantly, they showed it wasn't alone in its fear of entropy. The battle that followed wasn't fought with weapons. While the human fleet held its defensive formation, scientists and engineers worked to adapt their technology, creating a bridge between two fundamentally different forms of existence. The hunger's attacks became less frequent, more tentative, as if testing their resolve rather than trying to destroy them. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the entity began to change. Its darkness gained structure, purpose. The formless void became something else. Not quite solid, not quite energy, but somewhere in between. A new form for a new purpose. The first successful interface between human technology and the hunger's consciousness revealed something extraordinary. The entity wasn't just a consumer of civilizations, it was a repository of them. Countless species preserved within its vast network of energy and information. Like the archivists, it had been trying to preserve life, just in a tragically misguided way. "We can help you," Helena transmitted, "and you can help us. The universe is vast enough for both our kinds to survive." The transformation wasn't instant, and it wasn't complete. Parts of the hunger would always remain true to their original nature. But a significant portion of the entity embraced change, working with humanity to find a new way forward. The archivists' true gift became clear. They hadn't just given humanity the tools to survive. They had given them the wisdom to understand that survival alone wasn't enough. Real victory wasn't in destroying their enemy, but in transforming it. 20 years after the battle, the solar system had become something unprecedented. A collaboration between humanity and the reformed portions of the hunger. Together, they began reaching out to other survivors, offering them a place in this new coalition. Dr. Patel, now leading the Joint Research Initiative, often reflected on the archivist's choice. "They saw something in us that even we didn't see," she told her students. "Not just the will to survive, but the capacity to change, to help others change. That's humanity's real strength." The stars seemed brighter now, no longer points of light waiting to be consumed, but beacons of hope in the darkness between galaxies. Humanity had repaid their debt to the archivists in the most fitting way possible, by proving that even the darkest hunger could be transformed by the light of understanding. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, other civilizations began to see that light, and hope returned to a galaxy it had known only fear for far too long.